Hello and welcome to another episode of Glory of Golden State Gaming. I'm your host, Swamp Swimmer, and with me today, Roland, my round 5 opponent of the Las Vegas Open number XII. I don't know. Roland, how you doing? Thank you so much for jumping on the channel.
Oh, glad to be here.
So, I ask everyone who comes on the channel this very simple question is, what is your Warhammer story? When did you start playing this game? What was your first love? I'd love to know yours.
Well, it was about 1992, middle school. A really close friend of mine who I've been in contact with throughout the entire time. In fact, he was at LVO as well. He had Rogue Trader, Warhammer 40,000, and we thought the models were super cool, and he kind of brought it to the whole friend group, and then we found out that there was a fantasy version of the game. And I think that's where, like, 90% of the people fell more in love with, just because it looked so cool. On the battlefield, just like big bricks of infantry and monsters and cav versus, little. I mean, don't get me wrong, the old beekeepers are really cool.
No. Yeah, like 40K is cool, but like there's certain subset of people that are fantasy people over sci-fi, if you can call 40K sci-fi.
And there was even a part of my gaming history where I actually preferred that. That was probably when I was like, a later teen. But then just, I think throughout the years of additions coming out, I'm like, I just want a great weapon to be a great weapon. I don't need, a million different rule names for the same rule fundamentally.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was 4th edition. There was the High Elves, Goblins, and Orcs box.
I remember that's when I started playing in elementary school, and it was the mono pose, spearmen. Yeah.
So, and then my first love and army was Orcs and Goblins, because that was easy. They were all there. And then I later went into Chaos, because it was like 5th edition came around. There were the cool, finally multi-part plastic kits for like warriors and the chairs and like the old beefcake marauders with the flails. And we had 2 households that were really welcoming to basically all the kids coming over for extended weekends. And especially during summer, there were times where you would just make a phone call daily to your parents, but you'd be over there for a week and we would be playing Warhammer. Like they had a family friend that made us a green felt table, to have our battles on. And it was such a cool way to like kind of get together, put models together, talk about everything you wanted. At the time everything was just all about like, oh, this has the number of attacks and high strength. You weren't thinking about like, oh, actually like a horde of little cheap dingbats, you're just trying to roll sixes as you can. You don't think of that. You want like
tactics don't matter. It's rolling dice and having fun.
Yeah, it was just pure like Timmy mode, at that time. And then it was like the end of 5th edition. And the beginning of 6th, I actually got more into like card games, like Legend of the Five Rings specifically. Still kind of dabbled in Warhammer, and then got into like my, semi-professional music career for a good, 10, 15 years. And then got back into it before even Old World dropped. And the same friends that
so during the end times before Old World, were you just playing 8th edition?
No, I took a break then. Like periodically peeked my head in to it, but nothing really serious, because I was pursuing other things and just had like zero time to really devote to it. Um, and then this is maybe like the game had been dead for like 2 years, maybe.
I think,
So like
yeah.
2017. And we just got the wild hair I was just, this 40K is not what I want, let's play older editions of fantasy. So we revisited 8th because I had friends that played continuously
All the way
from
through.
when we
Yeah.
started in 92. They played all the way until the very end, and they were so upset that they literally just chucked their armies that they had in the trash.
It was a dark time. It was a dark time.
But he would, they would always reiterate, like, this is the best game that GW has ever put out. And I was like, I can't argue with that, and it's like, it's complex and it's simple. Like I was, noting before with like the weapon types, like everyone knows what a great weapon is. You know what an additional hand weapon is, and it's across all factions. So you don't have to, think about, some kind of brand name for the same same weapon, So we got back into it, and I was like, I just want to play my first love army again because it's so wacky and random. Every game is going to be completely different, usually because of like really dumb luck.
Randomness.
You're either gonna miss big or you're gonna win big. So. And then Old World came around, and it was like more than just my friend and I playing, and found a group in the East Bay, Sons of Bungbid, and we got together, and then it kind of just spiraled out from there. And then I help out with Monster Slayer Productions with like terrain, because I brought a number of tables of terrain for LVO that were used.
Nice.
And it's just kind of great seeing this thing grow, like, because it's amazing,
It's so much fun. Like it's a great, like we can go on for days about how the game is good or bad or whatever, and the history of the game and all that stuff. But really, what it comes down to is like forming community and forming groups of people that just like hanging out together, and it just becomes community.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good stuff. So ONG from the get go, I love that. There's like, I feel like that ONG players are like diehard ONG players. Like of all the different races, ONG players stick to their army the most compared to other armies.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't, for the entirety of Old World, I've only played Orcs and Goblins. So.
All right, but we are here to talk about a battle report, so let's get into the battle report. Okay, as I said, round 5, I get paired into Roland. This is Encirclement, Strategic Locations 4, Domination Baggage Train. Coming into Game 5, I've had 2 big wins and 2 big losses. And I felt walking up to Game 5 with those 2 big wins, 2 big losses with the Lizardmen army, I was like, I'm feeling good. Like if I can get a tie in this last game, I'm feeling like really happy with my results with a Lizardmen army in this tournament. How were your first 4 games of the tournament?
First 4 games were good. I had a 15-5 against Double Dragon Wood Elf list. And then I had a 20-0 against Chaos Dwarves. And it was really cool. It was right out of the pages of mid-90s White Dwarf, because he had the old models. I had the old models. So that was cool. And then I had my first taste of Cathay.
Oh, the Cathay.
And let's just say the goose egg was well earned. But I was still there to have a fun time. I knew it was going to be a bad matchup. So, and then I had a really, really fun game against a Warriors of Chaos player, and which was kind of a rematch of sorts, because we played the previous LVO that was held earlier in January, and then came to the table against you for Game 5.
All right, all right, all right, all right. You know what? If you're watching and you're interested in the army that I brought, please click the link right above my head. It'll take you to my round 1 video where I go over my list in a little more, detail, a little more intricacy. It's not very complicated army, but I'm gonna skip right ahead to Roland's army here. And no need, Roland, no need to read line by line, unit entry by unit entry, but give me the gist of this army. How does it work together? How do you win with it? Yeah, take it away.
I mean, the big thing about this was I'm playing the missions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having big blocks of infantry that can sit on the flagpoles and still be able to fight and put pressure on the board. So it's like I had the 2 blocks of night goblins with the compulsory 3 fanatics each, just because they're hornet nests of non-interaction. But the real kind of meat and potatoes of the list was the big block of black orcs.
Yeah.
And with that, I went full command and big red raggedy flag. So that gives them +1 weapon skill for a weapon skill of 5 and an additional combat res. So effectively 3 ranks.
Yeah.
And rather than going through the weeds, figuring out what's the perfect balance between, Motley Crue's rules and giving a certain number of great weapons and shields, I just gave them all great weapons and all shields.
Yeah.
So I
just make it easy.
Pick and choose the modality that I need to get the advantage I need when I need it for as long as I can. And then I put a level 3 lore familiar orc weird knob in there on battle magic because I wanted arcane urgency and oaken shield in particular.
Yeah, oaken shield. Yeah.
And then I would kind of flip-flop back and forth between either fireball, depending on the matchup, or hammer hand. And I think in this game I chose fireball because
it was fireball. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really basically the black orcs is going to be in the center of the table every time, to hold the line, because they are just so tanky. They're going to win a lot of combats, and even if you send your big monsters into me, I'm strength 6 with loads of AP on them.
Yeah, good. It's a really hard block to break. Yeah.
Yeah, and then kind of the other pieces is a lot of cavalry in the form of 2 units of squig hoppers, because random movement is just so good that I could still get the charging interaction even though I can't see you. So I typically will hide them in buildings, waiting to get the number to make contact to get those impact hits and to be able to swing first with the big mouths of the squigs. The boar boys were just kind of there as your classic distraction card effects, because of the fact I had the black orc war boss on wyvern, so he was tanky. I had the black orcs were tanky. These were tanky but less so. They only had the 3-up armor, but they had the threat reach with their move.
They got the charge range. Yeah.
So that was honestly a unit that I was okay with dying first every single time. That was kind of the gist of it, because the infantry blocks were doing most of the work with either objective camping or throwing fanatics out there. And then 2 doom divers, because that forces you to come to me, and with being infantry I'm a little slower. So gives me
you need a little bit of shooting, a little bit of range threat, but also you skipped over just the general on the wyvern is such a big piece.
He's the tanky boss, he's got the 3-up, 5-up, 5-up with talisman of protection and the trollhide trousers. And honestly, for him it's either I tank a lord on mount that I can't kill because he's just so survivable, or I start harassing the flanks and go war machine hunting with him until I can make combo charges in the later turns to really push the battles with my infantry blocks.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. That's a good army. I mean, this is like a really just solid army. As you said, the obligatory 2 Night Goblin blocks with 3 Fanatics each is just like what everyone brings. But I think the Black Orc block is just as prevalent in ONG armies. Yeah, it's just a solid list. It's a hard. I saw this list coming at me, and I'm like, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
It was nice to play like a combined arms army versus like a heavily skewed list, like the all Night Goblin, all artillery list, which does great against the Cathay matchup, but you know, it's just a different game that you're playing.
That's no fun. All right, let's get into deployment here. Let's see here, deployment. So, if I remember correctly, also it's been a minute since we played this game. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way. And I think with this, I finished deploying first, I'm pretty sure. And let's see here. Our baggage trains were both in our backfields, and you kind of just spread out around the center of the board. Well, actually, let me talk about my deployment, and then we'll get to you.
Okay. I
just focused my monsters on. This is probably not the right choice, but I kind of spread my monsters out. The 3 Stegodons are on the far right. The 3 Bastiladons are on the left. Everything kind of interspersed in the middle. I think this was I made a mistake here, because other games I played where I bundled up the monsters together, did a bunch of shooting, and then when you came close to me, I countercharged with the Stegodons. It was very successful for me. And I don't know what I was thinking. It was game 5. We're all a little tired. It's Las Vegas. And I decided to spread them out this game. I think it was because of the objectives, and there's 4 different flags, and I was trying to get to all flags, or 3 of the 4 flags quickly. That's why I did that. But it wasn't the right move for me. What was your thoughts when deploying?
I mean, literally the same thing, where it's like I had the Black Orcs in the middle. On opposite flanks were the 2 Night Goblins. And then I had, on my right, the Boar Boys, supported with some of the Squig Hoppers. And then on my left, I had Squig Hoppers, and the Hopper Boss with the ruby ring. And then my kind of flex that I did was like, where am I going to put my Wyvern? And then having played like a number of iterations of like the Night Goblin Death Star, I didn't feel totally threatened by 50 skinks staring me down.
You didn't? Really?
and your 2 wizards. So I plopped my Wyvern there, just figuring if I make it into your Stegodons, then you know, I have a pretty good shot at this.
Yeah. And that's the smart call.
Yeah. So and then
my army is definitely short range shooting and magic. And in combat, I have just like a little bit of staring power. Like, I mean, Stegodons are tough, but they're not as tough as your Wyvern, obviously.
Yeah, and then just the way I'd spread out my infantry blocks was to basically hold and contest objectives, and just hope that my numbers stayed above yours to be able to hold.
Exactly. I think I won first turn, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I did. And I push up, and I think I immediately controlled 3 objectives off the bat. So, like, my goal was, I got that goal right off the bat, which was holding 3 objectives. And I think I definitely outscored you on objectives at the end of the game, but I don't remember.
Definitely the first, like, 4 turns,
Yeah, I was taking 3 out of 4, yeah. I'm just going to scoot through here. I mean, your response was to push everything forward. On the far right there is where your Wyvern is. And there you go. And this is the big turn. This is top of 2 move. I turn everything on the right side of the board at your Wyvern. So I have basically 3 units of skinks, 3 stegodons, and 1 bastillodon shooting at him. And I did get Plague of Rust on him. So I'm like, oh, I need to get him down to like something. I need to take a big chunk of his wounds off. Make you rethink charging me. I did that. I think I did 0 wounds or maybe 1.
It may have been 1. Yeah.
Yeah. It was not good.
Yeah.
And this is where I think I messed up in deployment. At this point, my 2 bastillodons, which are the solar engine shots, are relatively good against your wyvern. And I've had 2 of them on the far left, and they just couldn't do anything. They were out there trying to fight your boar riders. It wasn't the right choice. What was your thought process about pushing the wyvern out immediately? I mean, you touched on it briefly before, but like, was it gung-ho, or did you realize you probably were gonna come out of that unscathed?
I realized I was gonna come out of it pretty unscathed, and you would have to just spike really high to get it, because I mean, like in the past, like I was mentioning, I had played a 90 strong block of night goblins with the same debuffs, and if you don't get a lot of those debuffs, like you might take 1 to 2 wounds off a dragon mounted character. And even with your Plague of Rust at that point, my 3-up armor save was effectively like having armor of meteoric iron, which was a build that I had used with orc bosses on wyverns before, and I knew that I was going to be able to tank, you know, a third of all that. And really the big thing is I just needed to make it into combat, because when you're in combat, you're not shooting anything, and then I'm just protected all game for basically setting up overruns into other units once I hopefully paced the targets, you know. And he's a pretty hitty lord, you know. He can go, the lord itself can go toe to toe with a fighty lord, but the wyvern mount is just, you know, it's not nearly as
it's no dragon. It's
like
not
a dragon.
Yeah.
You know.
So you charged, I think it was, my stegodon right there on the right. And there's no need to go through the rest of this. Your wyvern, I think in combat, I think I did 2 or 3 wounds randomly in combat, and I was like, oh, maybe I have a chance at a second round of shooting afterwards. But I just couldn't get it off on you. And your wyvern just ended up kind of tearing up my backfield. I'm just gonna squeeze through. My one bright shining moment in this game was I killed your boar boys with my bastillodons, which was pretty fun. By the end of 4, you had cleaned up everything. Your Black Orc unit was way in my backfield. The two Night Goblin units released their fanatics, and they were just roaming around killing things. Whew, it didn't go well for me, and the game ended with a 20 for Roland. Congratulations. Thank you for the game.
Yeah, no, it was a fun game. I mean, it's you know, they're marathons, these 2-day events. You know?
So I've got some ideas of how I want to change my Lizardmen list. I still think there's some gas in the tank of the list I'm trying to build with my Lizardmen, but I need to rethink it. But the big thing I'm rethinking is the prevalence of square-based comp, which is basically ETC comp from 8th edition. You recently went to the Cali Cup.
Yeah.
With using square-based comp. I'd love to know your brief overview of, was it a good experience with square-based comps? Was it bad? How did it feel?
So with LVO, playing 2,000 points to 2,000 points, I would have roughly half an hour to 45 minutes left at the end of each round to be able to do this. With scaling, you know, from anywhere to 2,000 to 2,600, I had one game not go beyond, you know, I only had like 4 turns played. It's just, start really stacking those points it takes a lot longer to play.
Yeah.
And even with
Yeah, I
that
agree.
comp, I was considered a B tier army, so I'm playing 2,200 points. And to be honest, like most of my matchups were against 2,600 point armies, and you could definitely feel the pressure by having fewer resources, even though some of your rules are cooked, like Fanatics, for example, and Doom Divers. Because I mean, I think of the top 5, 2 or 3 of them were playing D tier armies with 2,600 available to them.
I agree completely about the scaling. Like, I think Square-Based Comp is making the game a little too large. It should scale down also below 2,000 points, but that's just my opinion. But did you feel like, I don't even know the final results of Cali Cup, do you feel like it wasn't the armies at the top tables played by the best players around that were just unbeatable? Like
I think like of the top 5, they were some of the best players, because in fact I played all 4 of the top 4 in my game, because my day 1 I was on fire and had a 3-0, and then I was matched up day 2 game 4 against a really just like postmodern Slayer list.
Nice.
Where I just ran I fled everything off the table to save points of banners and kept everything of his alive, because it was a points match with that. And then I ended up, the differential scoring, I ended up losing by 17 points, which gave me a 9 loss.
Wow.
And then there was a Skaven player out there, really, really strong player, and I eked out an 11-9 win. But again, it's just like with all those points, and they were top players.
It takes long. It takes so long.
I don't think they addressed like what I feel like the comp was trying to address. I mean, if anything, it just kept Cathay out and Tomb Kings and Bretonia, which was kind of sad. Like, because you want to see.
Were they cooked or were they competitive?
The Slayer list, if you didn't know like what to do, it was going to be a gotcha loss for you every single time. So for like new players, it wouldn't have been a fun experience per se.
But I mean like Cathay and Tomb Kings and Bretonians in previous tournaments, it's like, oh, I really dread facing this army because I know it's going to be a really uphill slog for me. And obviously Square-Based Comp takes them down a peg or two, but did it feel like they were completely destroyed, or were they just brought down to medium?
They were just completely destroyed in the sense that nobody brought them.
Wow. Oh, interesting.
Nobody brought Cathay. Nobody brought Tomb Kings. There was only one A-tier army, and that was a Vampire Count player. And I don't even think they necessarily brought like the strong Scream build, like the over-the-top Scream build. So like there were a lot of Orc and Goblin players. I was pretty much, well, actually I take that back. There was another with a similar combined arms list. But like a lot of the field were like 2,600 point armies that were doing pretty well.
Interesting. I think that's a good thing to hear. That in my mind, that's positive news. I think that's people just trying out new things. I'd love to see more tournaments like this to see how it really shakes out, but that's interesting. I completely agree with you.
Maybe just don't go 2,600, have 2,400 be your cap, and armies like Cathay and Bretonia or whatever, have them be at 1,750.
I agree. I agree completely.
Interesting. It was playing the double regen community FAQ that Square-Based used was interesting, I guess, for some people. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're about at 30 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me, Roland. My last question before we go. Are you going back to LVO next year?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, good. I'll see you there then.
I try to make it out to all the events. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Well, happy belated Thanksgiving. We'll see you in Las Vegas again, and thanks so much for the game.
My pleasure. Thank you, Kenya.